Do you struggle to craft powerful, seamless transition like the one you hear in your favorite songs? Well, you're not alone. And in this video, I'm going to show you the simple addictive transition formula that works in any genre. Because here's the truth. Transitions aren't just detailed. They're what create tension, release, and payoff. Even if you got the best chorus in the world, if your track doesn't build up to it properly, you're going to waste it. And when you waste the chorus, you risk wasting the entire song. Hey, I'm Alex. I'm a music producer who's worked with some of the biggest brands, and in this video I'm going to break down a simple 3-step method that any level of producer can use to create captivating, professional sounding transitions. I'll be applying these exact steps in real time, so by the end of this video you'll be able to use the exact same method to make your song hit harder and keep your listeners hooked from start to finish. Let's dive in. The other day, I was skiing in the mountains, and as the ski lift slowly crept up the slope, the view slowly unfolded. First just peaks of nearby mountains, then with every second more of the landscape revealed itself. Rolling hills, snow-covered trees, and finally as we reached the top, a breathtaking lake appeared out of nowhere. It wasn't visible at first, but as the scenery gradually unfolded, it felt like every moment was building toward that final stunning payoff. We can create this exact feeling in music. See, what made that moment so powerful was the gradual reveal. It wasn't just about the view, it was about how the view was revealed. Each second added more beauty, more tension, until the full landscape took your breath away. And in music, we have complete control over the same experience. Just like the skill lift control how fast the view unfolds, we can control what the listener experiences. And we do this with automation. But here's the thing, most producers only think of automation for basic tasks, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools for building tension, energy shift, and emotional payoff. Let me show you. So this block right here is most of my synths, so I'm going to show you what kind of automation I do on them. So the first one, which is the most classic, is the filter slowly opening. Then we have also a filter sweep at the end. And then one of my favorite that's not as common is having a reverb automation. So basically I'm automating the mix knob of the reverb. So as we progress, we're going to get more and more reverb in these synths, which is going to make it feel like the synths are getting further and further as the song progresses. But then I have that lead synth right here, which has a panning effect to it, and I'm automating the rate of the panning to slow down. So let's take a listen at all these synths together. And the bass, I'm doing that reverb trick too, so the bass seems like it's getting further and further. And then we get to the drums. So on the kick, I have a bunch of automation. Check out how the kick and bass sounds together. Have you ever heard a melody for the first time and it somehow feels like you've heard it before? It feels familiar even though it's brand new. Well, this is no accident. It's actually one of Max Martin's favorite production tricks. And in case you don't know Max Martin, he's one of the most successful producers of all time, behind hits like Baby One More Time, Shake It Off, and countless others. One of his go-to techniques is sneaking beats of the main motif throughout the track before it fully drops. So by the time you hear the full melody, your brain already feels connected to it. You feel like it's been there all along. And here's why it works so well. Our brains are wired to love what feels familiar. Even when it's subtle, this familiarity makes your music more memorable, more addictive, and instantly satisfying, and builds up in transition at the perfect place to use this trick. You can easily tease a subtle part of the main motif in the transition, creating that sense of familiarity right before the drop hit. Let me show you exactly how we can use this in the transition we just built. So check this out. In the chorus, I have a string line, which is very central to the song. And I think the pre-chorus could be a good place to tease that line so it feels already familiar when we hear it in the chorus. Let's listen to the line first. So you see that line right here that does bam, bam, bam. So I decided to put in the pre-chorus, but what I'm doing is that I'm filtering it. Here you can see I'm cutting some highs and lows, especially highs, and I'm drenching it in reverb. It's like way too much reverb, but the idea is so we can barely hear it. It's kind of here in the background, but it's going to create a sense of familiarity. Let's check it out. Let's listen to just the synths and the line together. So So you see it's kind of blurry, it's here in the background, but because we hear it right here, so when the chorus arrives, it's gonna feel like we already heard it. Remember that scene in Interstellar where Matt Damon tries to escape and his ship explodes in space? There's something about that moment that makes it hit so hard. Let's see if you can spot it.
About my life, or Cooper's life, this is about all mankind. There is a moment.
Did you catch it? Did you notice how heavy it feels when the ship explodes? It's because of that sudden shift to silence. The silence feels almost oppressive. Why? Because of the extreme contrast between the two moments. Right before the silence, there's music, alarm blaring, tension building, and then nothing. That sharp cut into silence creates massive tension and drama. And we can use the exact same technique in our music. By leveraging silence and contrast in our build-up, we can amplify the impact of the drop. But here's the cool part. You can actually intensify the silence even more by purposely building up the energy right before the silence. You make the contrast feel even bigger and the payoff even more explosive. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna cut all the instrument on the last beat of the bar right before the drop. And this is gonna make the drop feel much bigger because there's gonna be that pocket of silence right before. But what we can do to amplify that effect is to build up even more right before that silence. Basically, we amplify the silence by making it louder right before. So first I have some kind of snare roll that leads into that silence. Let's listen to the drums. So you see that little silence, there is that snare roll that built to it. But the other thing that I'm doing is that I'm just stacking a bunch of risers on top. So that might seem excessive, but they all kind of bring something different. Check this out. Pretty strong, right? Now, so that's about all the steps to create that epic transition. So now let's listen to the full transition with all of these 3 steps all together, starting from the verse. So that's how you create transitions that don't just connect sections, they tell a story. But transition is only one part of what keeps the listeners hooked. If you want to take your production to the next level, I'd love to help you personally. Whether it's producing your next song or improving your production skill through one-on-one coaching, just fill out the form in the description and let's make something amazing together. And if you're not quite ready for that yet, that's totally fine because I've got something else for you. Keeping your music captivating is one of the hardest part of production, and it all comes down to your arrangement. If you want to learn the 3 essential rules to keep your listeners hooked from start to finish, click on this video next.